Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Waves of Wisdom podcast episode. Today we have Jo Wilson on, who I'm very excited reached out in the online world of toddler and baby swimming, and she's very distinguished, especially in baby sensory swimming. She's an international tutor, develops play practice. She's a speaker. She co-founded Swimworks in the UK, where her and her team provide tailored swimming programs for individuals of all ages and abilities. And then just a little over 10 years ago, Jo founded the Aqua Sensory, a pioneering program that integrates sensory exploration with early development opportunities in aquatic environments. So it's really important for you guys, our busy parents out there, to get some really great tips about how to incorporate all the sensory play that everyone talks about, which is the key word, to the aqua environment, so into our water areas. We're focused around child-centered and developmental methodology to swimming, which is very cool. Very excited and honored to have Jo on board with us today, sharing our insights. So I'll get you up here and would love for you to add any more to that. Welcome, Jo.
Oh, thank you. No, I think pretty much you said everything. It's just really nice, isn't it, to connect, even though we're at different parts of across the world. It's really nice, and I think you're doing such a great job, because I do think there is a lot of information out there for parents, and it can feel quite overloaded. But with the water, it's so important that we get our really clear message out there that water is there for everybody to be safe and connected. So thank you.
Perfect. And I love what you've done, because in Australia, I don't know about the UK specifically, but there's all this fuss about our sensory play and our messy place areas and things like that. But no one really thinks, well, maybe they do, but I don't think they think of swim lessons as a sensory experience. So I'd love to hear more about your program that you created called Aqua Sensory Program. And how does it differ from traditional baby swim classes?
Oh, that's a great question. So, a lot of the time when we're swimming, we have really set aims and outcomes. And as swim teachers, we have almost like a list of skills that we want to develop for the child, and we want to tick them off. And it's very, very clear. And there's quite a structured program. If you almost think of aquasensory as a natural way of really supporting a child's development, and we take inspiration from early years pioneers like Montessori, Steiner, and
Yeah.
actually we know that babies and young children can really propel themselves through the water naturally. And if you put a baby in water, I'm not going to say swim, but they do have a natural affinity. So knowing that there is a natural base, sometimes we don't mean to, but we actually sort of bring out, and we don't always support what is naturally inside. So aquasensory is almost like an inside out way of really enhancing what is already in the child, and to amplify that natural ability, that connection through the water. So instead of having it really structured with outcomes and aims, we very much empower our parents to use their own intuition, and it's very much there's the aims become almost like intentions. What do we want to really gift our child today? Maybe we want to take more time. So it's a different lens of how we, and I wouldn't even say to teach. We don't teach children to swim, because we believe that they can naturally have a connection. So we guide, we facilitate, we don't tell, we invite. So it's a different language for the pool.
Oh, I like it. Nice. So would you say if a parent went to your baby sensory class, baby sensory, aqua sensory, is that what we're calling it? Sorry, aqua sensory class. See, baby sensory is stuck in my head. That they're more the focus on the lesson versus we're going to do this specific lesson, same thing every week for a year. Does that make sense? So you're more focused on getting an outcome per se, that lesson in regards to a certain movement pattern.
Think about a child is, and baby, are naturally curious in the water. So we are bringing out that natural curiosity rather than teaching them, because we know that it's already in there. They want to put their face in, they want to taste the water. So we are there to model and guide. So think of when we set up the pool, it's almost like an aquatic playground, a classroom. And there's different areas that they can discover and explore in their own time and own way. However, saying that, it's not like a free-for-all. It's not like just come in and completely play. There's very much a flow. But what we do is we're feeling into the natural rhythms of that day. Maybe the toddlers want to seek more and they want more of a faster activity. Maybe the babies need a little bit more slower activity. So
Yeah.
working with their internal rhythms and sensory systems rather than against it. That's what we develop at Aqua Sensory.
Cool. Very different way of looking at it from what a lot of people I've talked to and a lot of things we do.
Yeah.
So it's good to have these different perspectives for parents to learn. So, as a leader in baby and preschool swimming education, what do you see as the key skills or experiences parents should be prioritizing during their children's early lessons?
Connection. We are all primed to connect and belong. And for me in the water, it is that partnership approach with your child. So, how much involved that you can be to model and guide and not only connect with your child, but connect with the water as well to really understand the water properties. So, balance, buoyancy, breath, to feel really grounded ourselves in the water and be really mindful and aware. So really it's the subtle layers and the little details where we hold, what words we use in the pool, all becomes really important.
Nice. So if you were gonna, that's a big thing, but if you're gonna give one tip to a parent that's new, what's something that you've seen parents come in saying that you might say, oh, maybe say it this way or hold this way? Is there anything that, any one tip that you see from beginner parents, especially?
To be very mindful yourself. So what we do is we actually start out of the pool.
Okay.
So, what are your intentions today, even at home? What language are we using? Let's build up that excitement at home. Let's choose our towel, choose our goggles together, talk
Yep.
about swimming in a really fun way. When we're in the car, even when it's a baby, they will pick up. They will remember this journey, the excitement, because that's what sensory is. A lot of the time people think about the toys, but actually our sense of ourselves inside to build up that excitement to the pool, and then in the changing rooms to be really really nice and calm. So when
Mm.
we're getting into the water, so it's all of this whole sensory story before we get into the pool, and then as we're getting in the pool we are almost providing a running commentary. So wow, can you see the water? How does it feel? What can you see? And then you feel into their sense as well. So we're not projecting, we're receiving. So it's very much, as a parent, one of my top tips is that what are we transmitting? It's okay for us to be a little bit anxious, but let's see if we can become neutral. So our child is actually amplifying their feelings, not ours, because the water is so special. It actually will amplify what's put in it. It has an energetic expression. So can we enter the pool in a neutral base? And then it's what our child is expressing. What can we pick up? So I very much say to my parents, what can you see? What can you feel? What can you sense? So it's very much a deeper connection that we're having with the water and our child.
Nice. I had one of our other speakers, and she said she always tells the parents to shake out their anxiety or any stress or tension on their fingers before they get in, because exactly like you said, it can lead to, they can transmit their feelings into the lesson for the baby. The baby or the toddler doesn't know what to feel. They do it based off the reactions to the parents too.
Yeah, very much so. And I think sometimes we don't realize how much tension that we have through our skin, through our hands, and as you say, that's what they're receiving. So to really think of our hands as a neutral base and almost like listening to the child. Now, some children will need a little bit more of a securer support, and that's okay. Some need a looser support. So again, it's not like us determine my child needs, it's thinking, what do they need in this moment very much, because babies and young children, they can go for anything, don't they? Teething, hungry, different rhythms, different transitions.
Depends on the
So
day, depends on the hour.
yeah, what does my child need today? What can
Yeah,
I give them? That's always a really nice mantra motto to bring through the water.
perfect. I remember one of my early teachers said, one of the coolest things I realized about swimming is it's one of the few things that you get eye to eye with the baby at their level. And especially for dads, a lot of moms, they'll lift them up and they'll be close to them all day, or they'll be on the ground with them, but the dads don't always have that connection. And it's one of the few things that you guys are at the same level, if the toddler is standing up or the baby standing up, or you're down low in the water with them. So exactly what you said before, it's just
Yeah,
about that
definitely.
connection.
Definitely. And I'd like to just let parents know that there are five very simple, because you mentioned eye contact. It's one of what we call our sensory five a day, because I think sometimes in swimming we do look at really complicated skills, or we want to add things in, and actually it's all there. So we
Yeah.
always start with water. So eye contact is really important, and it's almost like a vitamin, if we think of it as a vitamin for a child, but very much easy eye contact. And it's okay for children to break away when they need a bit of a sensory break. And it's okay for us to not always have that stare, because that can be quite for us as well. We're looking. What we talked about, touch, water's touch, movement, free movement is really important, as much skin to skin, and then our voice. So how we layer that up, because sometimes we do complicate swimming and add so much in skills, where actually the sensory is already there through the water and through us.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Great reminders. So, what advice would you give to parents who feel hesitant about introducing their babies to swimming?
I think first of all, it's really important to reassure, and it is okay. We have this almost world that we feel that sometimes has to be perfection, and we can't feel like this. Well, let's validate how you feel is absolutely fine. And I would always start at home. So bringing through the familiar in a really nice environment at home. Let's start at home. And I think everybody's got some sort of water base at home, even the sink, bath, the shower. So to bring through a water connection at home. And that's why I did actually write a really nice parent book called Bath Babies. So we start at home. It is for babies, but it's beautiful to bring through really lovely holds and moves to connect from the womb to the world.
Oh, nice.
There's so much we could be doing at home, and then to bring that confidence, that connection through to the pool.
Perfect. Well, I'll make sure to link your book in below.
Oh, thank you.
But definitely make sure to check out her Facebook page. You guys have it for both your swim school and your sensory page. So definitely jump on, learn more tips from her. We're not doing a super long interview today, but maybe we'll be able to get Joe back on, because we want to keep it nice and simple and straight to the point for you guys. But thank you so much for coming on. I do like to end it with a question. So my
Okay.
last interview left a question for you, not necessarily about sensory, but it'll be interesting to get your point. So she said, how do you incorporate parents and families to get more, find the importance of safety around waterways? So in Australia, we have a lot of rivers and broadwater. We've got the beach and the ocean, but more about the rivers and internal broadwater, things like that, to say that it's safe, but not scare them away from the water, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Wow. In the UK, of course, we're an island. So water is very important.
That's true.
Surrounded and in, there's a lot of bodies of water. For me, it is repetition, it is borders and boundaries. It's very important to recognize that water is a life giver, but it's also a life taker. So if you think about swimming lessons as your seatbelt, it's as important as that. So if your child says, "Oh, I quite like to do football," is football going to save your life? Swimming is the seatbelt of all sports. It's
Yeah.
something that is non-negotiable, because it's a life taker. So that's what I always like to let my parents know, if there even is that shadow of doubt. Let's get those seatbelts on. Swimming is so important.
That's a good way of phrasing. I've never heard it like that. So put your seatbelt on. It's, we say you're not going to be safe necessarily, but you're going to be safer
Yeah.
if you learn how to swim. You never know what can happen, but it's a good way of saying let's control the controllable as much as possible. So perfect. Is there anything you'd like to add to our lovely audience before we close off the podcast?
No, I just like to just share that it's swimming is so meaningful. It is those meaningful experiences, and a lot of the time we don't realize that we are doing a lot with our children in the water, in that multi-sensory environment already. We don't have to do anything really complicated or add lots in. It's already there. Water and the connection is there for everybody to enjoy.
Yep, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. You've given us some great tips. Definitely learned some new phrases and words and wordplay that I can try with my own toddler and at our swim school too. But if you guys want some more information, I'll tag Jo below, and you can find her Facebook and reach out if you're in the UK. Go visit her. But thank you so much again for coming on, and we look forward to maybe having you on again later in the future.